Hello everyone, this is Sarah here with different branches, same roots. And today we're going to be making a citrine pendant. We're going to be using 18 gauge copper wire. And our idea here is we're going to make this kind of like a, what's the word? Dream catcher. It's going to be kind of like a dream catcher pendant. We're going to have the stone sit right inside that. First things first, we got to figure out our portions here. So I'm going to fashion this in a kind of a circular shape. You want to make sure there's enough space for it to move freely, but not too much space that it just looks like it's floating there. So we're going to look at maybe something like that. Just a little bit tighter. Let's see how that looks. We can still go a little bit more. Okay, now that we have our shape, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bend these up. These guys right here, these are gonna be our bail for the pendant. Just kind of straighten those out a little bit. Make sure it still fits, and it does. So now we're gonna cut this. Figure out how long we want this. I think about almost 2 inches. I don't really do too many measurements, I kind of eyeball it. Get that still passing through. And we're going to make like a kind of V shape on the top here. This is gonna change how our bail looks. And we're gonna want to kind of roll the edges in on the top there. That's gonna be important for later when we go and anchor everything down. Next I have some 26 gauge wire. This is also copper in the gold color. Now I'm going to keep this on the roll because I'm not exactly sure how much we're going to need, but we will do it as needed. Now starting this can be a little bit tricky. That's okay if you don't get it right the first time. So what we want to do is we want to go around the 18 gauge metal with the 26 gauge. And if you need to get pliers for this, that is okay. We're just going to keep going around until that tail is all tucked in and away. Alright, so it should look something like that. And you should be able to run your fingers over it. It shouldn't cut you or anything. I'm just going to press that in together just right. Now push it up to that corner spot on the bail, and then we're going to start weaving. This is a bit more of the tedious part of the whole process. Some people absolutely love it, but some may find it a little bit tricky, especially if you're using like a more hard metal than a soft, like what I'm using right now. And you just kind of keep going around. You go back and forth, back and forth. You go round once, round again, and then you cross it over. Usually I could get this done pretty quick, but it's a little bit awkward doing this at an angle for this video. And another thing to remember too, while you're wrapping these bales, is that you can make them any way you want. There are all kinds of different patterns. I'm just doing more of a standard. I think this is more like a standard bale. And you can choose to have it tight or more loose. Let's kind of decide what the basket weave looks like. And we're just going to keep going around and around. Once we get to the middle, we're going to change things up a bit. But we're a little less than a third of the way there, and that's already getting pretty wide, so I'm going to go ahead and bend that in. And like I said before, you can do these any way you want. There's no wrong way. But there's a certain type of look I like to have. I like to have that triangular type look with my bales. And this is where it can get a little bit tricky as you go up and up and up. Starts to feel a little bit flimsy depending on your type of wire you're using. And with the softer 18 gauge and the harder 26 gauge, it can get a little bit goofy. And I didn't realize when I first started doing this that there were different hardnesses for all the different metals. You could have dead soft, you could have medium, and then, you know, there's your super hardened stuff. Alright, and welcome back. After our little speed through there with building the bale, this is what I have so far. It's a nice little strip of bale. Now, you can use just about anything for this part. I have my little mandrels here that are from my mandrel kit that I used to make all my rings and coils and things. And I go and chop them up. I make my chainmail jewelry out of that. But what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of roll this bale around the mandrel. And going to have a nice sizable hole there to put our necklace in the future. And one thing we want to do, it's more like a nice little quality of life thing, is bend these little bits in the back here up just enough so it's level, and then it pins nice there back to the bail. And from here we can finally decide how much wire we need after completing the bail. I like to get about foot and a half, or you know me, just eyeball whatever looks good, and that looks about right to me. So from here we are going to go through one of the eyes. Doesn't matter which side, but I prefer to go with the left side when facing the back, and pull the wire all the way through. All the way through. Could be a little bit tricky since it likes to kink up a little bit. Yeah, all you gotta do is just pull it all the way through. Opened up a bit. Usually that hasn't happened, but this is a little bit tricky doing displays. Usually I get these done pretty quick. Maybe 30 minutes. I don't know how long I spent doing the bail, but that's usually the long part. And from here we're going to go around, and you really want to anchor this down so the bail doesn't lift up and that becomes one sealed part. It helps to have pliers as well. I'd say the magic number for going around these things is usually 3. 3 times around is the best charm. Now there's 2 ways we can go from here. We can either zigzag back and forth and make a flat backing. This will be good for your little cabochons and flat back stones. Or you can wrap the stone all the way around in it, which is what we're going to do today, since these stones, these little citrines here, are in their raw form. So I'm going to start by going back. I'm going to put the wire through the middle of the pendant, so then it will lift up on the other side. We do this to start our cradle, and we will figure out how we want this stone to be. So I am thinking, I am thinking we should go like this with our stone. Have the flat side on the back. Have the whole thing cradle it. Just gonna go put all this through again. All of it through. We're gonna go around 3 times because that is our magic number. Like so. And then we will go back again to the other side. Get that. Stone will start to sit in there somewhere. It'll get a little bit more tricky towards the end once we actually have to hold the stone and wrap the wire around. Things like to shift and move a lot, and you could lose some hair on your head trying to do this. Three times. And you gotta remember too, when you go and put stone or something in there, you gotta make sure you got space for it. We want it to be tight, but you gotta have space. So where are we going with this? Something like that. I think it was gonna be more like that. Now we're at the holding the stone phase, which can be, you know, whenever you need, but I prefer to do it early on. You want to give that a little tug there, and go back down below the stone. Insert the stone final time, and now this third one will capture the stone as we go back up. No, my bad. I'm confusing myself because I'm making a video. Convenient, is it not? We're going over and around. My bad. Apologize for confusing you. Confuse myself sometimes, and then I wind up having to retrace my steps, so don't feel too bad. And let's see. Oh, jeez. It's times like this where I wish I was sitting and not standing. Standing making video because my chair is too short for my desk. I really hope my hair isn't blocking out half of this video either. That would be a tremendous waste. Got to press it all together. Get it all look nice. Twist it around a little bit. And we will go back to the other side. Keep going till our stone is officially captured. Right now the back is a bit more open than the front. We gotta do our best, try and keep things in place. It's hard, it'll be frustrating most days, but the product at the end will be unique and yours, and it will be worth it. Around it again. Ooh, and I got a little snag going right there. Not fun, not fun, not fun. And I am losing my crystal. And if you get anything snagged there, just take your time, pull it out, try it again, straighten it out with the pliers. Go back on the back side, and we're going to finally capture this stone. My wire will want to go through. And it does. Now it will go around for our magic 3 times. Three times will be the charm. You want to feel it, check it, make sure nothing is loose, nothing is wiggling free. Right now it's currently moving. We can't allow that. So we will go up and over, do a little seat belt for our gemstone. We will seat belt this whole thing in, so hopefully it will not move anymore. And if it continues moving, just keep going around and wrapping as much as your wire will allow you. And if it ends up not working out, that's okay. That just means we gotta try it again, and we'll figure out how to make it work. Just keep going around until we get our stone snagged inside. And you can move the wire around with your fingers or the pliers and crimp it however you need. But ultimately we must do the shake test. Usually I like to play hot potato with my jewelry and make sure nothing falls out, nothing makes any little noises. That's how you know whether or not you've done a decent job. You should be able to not move it with your fingers too much, but this is just a demonstration. Usually I make mine tighter with less edges on the outside, and I intend to do more of these. I've just ordered 925 silver and 10K gold wire wraps, so I can build you more quality jewelry. I'll show you the one I'm wearing at the end of this video. But for now, we shall continue. And we're going to go down and around one more time once we finally get back to one of the upper sides. And then from there, we will cross over, go through the right hole, or the left, depending on which way you went. We will anchor this side down right here. So this way both sides will be equally anchored down. Three times being the charm. Somebody should put a counter on this video with how many times I say that. 3 times the charm. And once we go around 3 times, we're going to go take it across the front, and we're going to poke it through the left eye hole, pull it through. We'll go around and put it through the right eye hole, and we will keep doing this until we feel we're comfortable with how tight everything is. or our wire runs out, which looks like that might be the case for me. I guess I usually take more wire. I think that looks fair. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the middle, pass that through, pull it tight so it's nice and close to the bottom. I'll go around once, not going through any eye holes. Around twice. I'll cross over one more time and see if we can pick one of these eye holes to go through and finish. And do what you take, try and get it through. It's a little bit tricky. Usually I do this with more wire, but not for today's display. And once you get through, you grab it and you go around as many times as needed. I am out of wire, so I will just be pressing that in, and that will be done. And this is just a general idea. This is an example. This is not a very good display, but it is a general idea on how I do these. Now I'm going to show you what I made a couple days ago. Looks a little bit better. As you can see, I kept most of these a little bit more tight, less air, smaller bail more times around, but it should give you a general idea of what we're aiming for here. And this took me, oh, how long was this video? Oh, I guess this whole project does take me 30 minutes. So this is a 30-minute project. And with that, I gotta say thank you for watching. If you're interested in seeing more videos, I would recommend hitting the subscribe and like buttons. If you're interested in seeing what other jewelry I have to offer, check out my Etsy, Different Branches, or my website if you're into supporting small business, www.differentbranches.com. And hopefully I will speak with you guys soon. Goodbye.